Hey guys, welcome back to the Unfiltered Political Lens. Tonight we're stepping back from the daily headlines and taking a broader look at America itself, where we are as a society, how we got here, and how the United States of today compares to the America of the 1940s. This is more than a political conversation, it's about leadership, trust, national identity, culture, change, and the relationship between government and the people over generations. When many Americans picture the 1940s, they often see a nation shaped by the hardship, but also by resilience. The country was coming through the Great Depression while fighting a world war overseas, and millions of families were sacrificing in ways difficult to imagine today. Food was rationed and the factory shifted to wartime production. There were men who deployed abroad and women entered the workforce in large numbers. And the communities often organized around a shared sense of duty and national survival. There was a belief, whether fully justified or not, that the individual sacrifice was tied to a larger American purpose. Families planted victory gardens, bought war bonds, conserved fuel and supplies, and accepted inconvenience because they believed they were contributing to something larger than themselves. That sense of collective identity became one of the defining social features of the era. At the same time, the 1940s were far from ideal. Beneath the unity were deep inequalities and a serious moral contradictions. Segregation remained law across much of the country, and many women were still expected to return to their traditional roles after wartime labor. Dissent could be stigmatized, and the policies like the Japanese American internment remain among the darkest chapters in U.S. history. Still, there were many people who look back on that period and they see strong social cohesion than existed nowadays. But no, neighborhoods were often tighter, and the churches and civic groups had more influence in local life. Families were more rooted geographically in institutions, whether government, military, schools, or local businesses, all held more authority and public confidence than they did today or do today. Fast forward to modern America, and the picture becomes much more fragmented. The United States remains one of the most powerful nations in the world economically, militarily, and culturally, but internally, the citizens feel divided not only politically, but emotionally and socially. People often describe the country as polarized, exhausted, distrustful, and uncertain about the future. Trust in government has changed dramatically over the decades. In the 40s, many Americans viewed Washington as capable of mobilizing the nation through crises. Today, large numbers of Americans across party lines question whether federal leadership truly works for ordinary citizens. Many of them feel policy is shaped more by political interests, lobbying power, and media cycles, or even institutional preservations than by the public's need. That distrust extends beyond the elected officials as well. The confidence in the press, in our universities, intelligence agencies, corporations, and public health institutions, and even elections themselves has become deeply contested. The Americans often disagree not only about what should happen, but about what is actually happening. Technology has also accelerated all of this. The average American in the 40s might get daily information from a newspaper, a radio bulletin, and conversations with neighbors. Today, millions absorb content from live streams, breaking news alerts, social media feeds, and independent podcasts, as well as video clips, AI tools, and opinion driven commentary every minute of every day. Now, that creates access to information unlike anything in history, but it also creates an overload. People can know more while feeling less certain, and the information travels faster than verification. Outrage spreads faster than context, and political narratives can harden before facts are fully understood. That environment changes not just politics, but it's the culture itself. And another major difference is the shifts from collective identity toward individual identity. Mid century Americans often emphasize community duty, patriotism, family, structure, and shared social expectations. Modern America places much greater emphasis on individual freedoms, personal expression, self definition, and autonomy. For many, that's progress. It means more rights and more representation and more visibility and greater opportunity to live openly and authentically. For others, it feels like the weakening of a shared values and a common culture that anchors that once held communities together. Economically, the contrast is just as dramatic. In the decades after World War II, many Americans believed hard work could reliably create upward mobility. Buying a home and raising a family and building financial security on a single income. That dream feels less attainable to many people now as housing costs rise, wages struggle to keep pace, and debt increases, and the younger generations question whether the same opportunities still exist. Foreign policy also shapes the comparison. The 1940s presented visible global threats and clearly defined enemies. The Americans largely understood who the nation was fighting and why. Today, the geopolitical environment feels more complex. Cyber warfare, economic warfare, proxy conflicts, trade battles, terrorism, intelligence operations, and shifting alliances often blur the lines between peace and conflict. Now, this creates a different relationship between citizens and leadership. In early eras, people often rallied around visible national emergencies, but today many Americans feel like crises is constant. Economic crises, political crises, border crises, inflation crises, global resolution. That constant pressure creates fatigue and a cynicism over time. One of the hardest questions is public complicity. Every generation has moments where it later asks, what did we allow, ignore, normalize, or accept? The 1940s had theirs. Modern America has its own version of what that question is as well. Citizens today debate complicity around war policy, surveillance, media influence, economic inequality, and political tribalism, as well as censorship, corruption, consumer culture, and disagreement or disengagement. Then many of us wonder whether Americans are more informed than ever, yet less civically connected, or more distracted by noise while larger structural decisions happen around them. And yet, despite all this, the American spirit remains remarkably resilient. Across every generation, the country has faced division, reinvention, and periods of deep uncertainty. The United States has repeatedly gone through painful cultural transitions while continuing to redefine itself. And that's why this moment feels so important. Americans today aren't just debating elections or policy, they're debating the meaning of the country itself. What does freedom mean now? What should leadership look like? And what values unite the nation? And how do we rebuild trust without losing accountability? These are not easy questions, but they may become some of the defining questions of this particular generation. Whether someone believes America is declining or evolving or preparing for renewal, one thing is clear. The country is in a period of serious reflection. Many are looking backwards to understand what is lost, while others are looking forward to imagine what could still be rebuilt. Thanks for tuning in to another Unfiltered Political Lens. If this perspective resonated with you, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more political commentary, historical analysis, and geopolitical updates. We appreciate everyone who tuned in to watch, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Peace.